Well, this is related. We're going to get back, though, to the budget, and related with the endorsements is both of you, how will you address your office as far as budget concerns if there's reductions from the county in the budget? And tied in related to that is how do you feel this affects your situation if you have endorsements from unions that represent the workers that are under you that might be affected by the budget? And I think Mark was the first one.
Thank you. Well, what is a budget? A budget is a moral document, isn't it? It reflects what values you have, what values that the people have with you have and possess and put into action. So the budget being a moral document, if money gets even tighter, and it probably will in this age of a new normal, you have to prioritize. What crimes are going to get the attention? What crimes do you want us to focus on? Are there certain offenses? Maybe we will create different diversion programs. Maybe the drug court, maybe the veterans court will help take the load off some of the other crushing caseload. Because all of the attorneys in the offices, the ones who do child protection, child support, mental health matters, prosecution, civil advice, they all have crushing caseloads. The personnel budget is 90 or 95% something all salary for people. So we will have to prioritize what crimes do we focus on, what others do we maybe give less attention to.
Will you repeat the question, please?
Sure. We were asking about what do you expect to do with the budget, with the situation. I think the county was mentioned as far as reducing the dollars, and then also how do you feel it affects the situation where you have your employees underneath you perhaps represented by unions and endorsements?
I have had budget concerns in the past 4 years. Of my first year in office, I inherited the budget. I had already been set for my office before I came into office. But I recognized that that we are kind of a unique department in the county in that, as Mark stated, most of our budget goes to personnel. 85% versus 50% of which is the county norm, goes to personnel. So I have a little 15% budget to work with for all expenses. First thing I did when I realized that we were we were being cut or concerned about having cuts in budget is went through and to find out where there was waste in the department and where we could cut in that way. So we don't use one-sided paper anymore. Where we can, we use two sides of the paper. We reuse paper. We do all those kinds of things that you would do in your own household to cut expenses, and we cut them as far as we could. Instead of using instead of buying library books, we try and use more online materials. Instead of traveling to classes, we try as much as possible to stay local when we take our mandatory classes that we need to keep our licenses up. All of those kinds of things that were just common sense kinds of things. We've cut and probably are down to bare bones. But at all times, I've maintained that we need to keep the budget. We need to keep enough money in the budget in order to effectively prosecute our cases, no matter what kind of case it is, juvenile, adult criminal, child protection. We need to hire experts at times. We need to make sure that we have the appropriate evidence, and all of that costs money. In order to present a case to a jury, sometimes we need to spend money on exhibits and things like that. So I always make sure that we do have money in the budget for that, and so that we don't compromise on the way we handle cases at all. As far as having to cut more, even before I was asked to, when we had retirements or people that left the office, I tried to hire at entry level so that we could save money that way for the county and not have to cut back staff. My analysis when I first took office and sat down with my management team was we analyzed the caseloads that all of our office staff handles. we need a couple more attorneys in the office. We need a couple more secretaries in the office. We could use some more help in our victim witness department. But the reality is that I could ask and ask and ask, but I knew that I wasn't going to get permission from the county board. So, so I tried to save money that way in hiring, replacing staff with entry-level staff. We have great attorneys in the office, great secretaries that can mentor and teach and train new hires so that the work, again, isn't compromised. As far as endorsements, I know that was one question when I did address the Deputy Sheriff's Association. They came out or they invited me to come out and speak to them. One of the questions that was asked is, what can you do for us as far as getting us more money in our salary? And I had to be honest with them. I said, I can't do anything. I don't negotiate your salaries. I don't affect the union contracts. That's totally the county board issue. So I couldn't make any promises to anyone about budgets as far as when union employees asked. I get asked at other screenings too. It seems like they want some quid pro quo for an endorsement, but I have an obligation by statute, and my obligation is to the public and not to unions.
Thank you.